Since 1975, Curtis and Son Funeral Home, Sylacauga, Childersburg. And I want to say thanks for your patience and your understanding as our remodeling continues at Curtis and Son Funeral Home. And once the remodeling is finished, you won't recognize the building. I mean, it is going to be state of the art, and the chapel will be remodeled as well. And so it's a big undertaking, but a lot of companies locally have made this happen, and we appreciate their efforts and your patience as well at Curtis and Son Funeral Home as we continue to serve this community like we have since 1975. Curtis and Son Funeral Home, Sylacauga, Childersburg. Memorial service for Samuel Montgomery will be Sunday at 2 o'clock from the Childersburg Chapel of Curtis and Son Funeral Home at 2 p.m. Curtis and Son Funeral Home, Childersburg Chapel, directing that service. Visitation prior to the service from 1 until 2. Funeral service for John Milton Bryant, age 90, of Childersburg, is today at 2 o'clock from St. Mary's Episcopal Church in Childersburg. Visitation 1 hour prior to the service. Online condolences at curtisandsonfh.com. Curtis and Son Funeral Home, Childersburg Chapel, directing. Mr. Bryant died at the age of 90 on March 3rd at Colonel Robert L. Howard Veterans Home in Pell City. Mr. Bryant was a 1945 graduate of Childersburg, and he joined the U.S. Merchant Marine, serving on several cruises to ports throughout the Pacific and Caribbean. His ships were often among the first American merchant vessels soon after the war to enter ports previously held by the Japanese. Curtis and Son Funeral Home, Childersburg Chapel, directing. Funeral service for Anna Gowers Davenport, age 59, of Sylacauga, is Friday at 2 o'clock from the chapel of Randy Smith Funeral Home. Brother Eddie Forbes officiating. Burial in the Harpersville Cemetery. Mrs. Davenport died Wednesday, March 7th at her residence. Visitation tonight, 6 until 8 at the funeral home. Memorial message may be sent to the family at randysmith.com. Randy Smith Funeral Home, directing. Stephen Terry Dean died March 6th in Birmingham. Celebration of life will be held at First Baptist Church in Oak Grove in Sylacauga on Saturday, March 10th at 1 o'clock. Visitation at Randy Smith Funeral Home Friday evening from 5 until 8. Mr. Dean's 52-year faith journey. He received a bachelor's degree in music education at University of Montevallo and a Master of Arts in Christian Education from New Orleans Baptist Theological Seminary. He worked in numerous ministries throughout the area, including Mount Sharon, Brown's Chapel, First Baptist of Oak Grove, Pleasant Hill Baptist Church in Mississippi, and First Baptist Church in Roanoke, Alabama, among others, including Five Points Baptist Church in Sylacauga. In lieu of flowers, a family requests that donation be made to a Place of Hope orphanage in Kenya. Donations in the memory of Steve can be sent to 8100 Cyril Lane in Montgomery, Alabama, 36117. Memorial messages may be sent to the family at randysmith.com. Again, visitation at Randy Smith tomorrow night, Friday night, for Stephen Terry Dean from 5 until 8. Celebration of life on Saturday, First Baptist Church of Oak Grove, beginning at 1 p.m. Randy Smith Funeral Home, directing. Funeral service for Murtis Marie Pope, age 74, of Alpine, is Friday at 11 a.m. from the chapel of Randy Smith Funeral Home. Brother Wayne Henderson officiating. Burial in the Mooney Cemetery in Wegovka. Mrs. Pope died March 6th at her residence. Visitation tonight, 5 until 8 at the funeral home. Memorial messages may be sent to the family at randysmith.com. Randy Smith Funeral Home, directing. Funeral service for Miss Sandra K. McKinney, age 63, will be Friday at 1 p.m. from Union Baptist Church Cemetery in Sylacauga. The Reverend Frederick Kirkland officiating. Burial in the Union Church Cemetery. Visitation today, 1 until 8 o'clock at the funeral home. Ms. McKinney died March 2nd at Grandview Medical Center in Birmingham. Online condolences at communityfuneralhome.org, Community Funeral Home, Sylacauga, directing. Funeral service for Ms. Vera Ann Varner, age 87, is Friday, March 9th, at Mount Zion Baptist Church in Sylacauga at 11 o'clock. The Reverend Kendall Burton officiating. Burial in the Mount Sinai Church Cemetery in Rockford. Visitation today, 1 until 8, with a family hour, 5 until 7, all at the funeral home. Ms. Varner died March 1st at Grandview Medical Center. Community Funeral Home, Sylacauga, directing. Online condolences at communityfuneralhome.org. Funeral service for Mrs. Helen D. Phillips, age 91, of Alexander City, is today at 2 from Radley Funeral Home, with the Reverend Alton Beard, and the Reverend Jeremy Johnson officiating. Burial in the Alexander City Cemetery. The family receiving friends today, noon until service time at the funeral home. Mrs. Phillips died Sunday, March 4th at her residence. In lieu of flowers, memorials can be made to the Liberty Baptist Church, where Ms. Phillips was a member. That's 1365 Hillaby Street, Alexander City, Alabama, 35010, Radley Funeral Home, directing. Teresa K. Ponder, age 60, died March 5th. Funeral service Friday at 11 o'clock from Ursery Funeral Home Chapel in Talladega. Visitation is today from 6 p.m. until 8 p.m., also at the funeral home. Mrs. Ponder was a native of Sycamore and been a resident of Talladega, Alabama. Online condolences at urseryfuneralhome.com. Ms. Ponder was a member of the Southside Baptist Church. Ursery Funeral Home, Talladega, directing. Funeral service for Colonel William Sonny Ellis Josie, age 87, is today at 2 o'clock from Midway Memory Gardens Funeral Home Chapel, with Reverend Don Barnett officiating. The family receiving friends today, noon until 2 o'clock at the funeral home. Burial in the Midway Memory Gardens Cemetery. Colonel Josie died March 3rd at Adams Nursing Home. Midway Memory Gardens Funeral Home in Talladega, in charge of the arrangements. Mr. Josie was a veteran of the military, U.S. Army. He was in the Korean War, the 464th AAA BNHQ S2 Intelligence Section. Also served 5 years in the National Guard. He was discharged as a full bird colonel. Received 2 citations, U.S. Guard Association and Alabama State Defense Force. Colonel Josie was also recipient of numerous medals and ribbons. Midway Memory Gardens Funeral Home, Talladega, directing. Sarah Diane Howell, age 65, died January 21st. A celebration of life ceremony will be held March 10th, 2 until 3 o'clock at New Hope Baptist Church in Talladega. Dr. Garrett Joe Hagan Jr., age 88, of Sylacauga, died March 4th at VA Medical Center in Tuscaloosa. Graveside service will be held Friday at 12:30 from Alabama National Cemetery in Montevallo. In lieu of flowers, the family has requested that memorials be given in honor of Dr. Hagan to the Wounded Warrior Project, P.O. Box 758517, Topeka, Kansas, 877-832-6997. Online condolences at Jefferson Memorial Trustville, Jefferson Memorial in Trustville, taking care of all the arrangements. Now, Dr. Hagan was a longtime veterinarian here in this community, and he was well-liked and was in the veterinary practice for some 40 years. He lived in Coosa County, and Dr. Garrett Joe Hagan Jr., age 88, of Sylacauga. Marion Lillian Darton Hill of Talladega died March 4th at her residence, 78 years old. Visitation is today, 5:07 at Ursery Funeral Home. Funeral service Friday at 2 o'clock from Talladega's Ursery Funeral Home. Online condolences offered at urseryfuneralhome.com. That funeral service is going to be held not at Ursery Funeral Home, but at St. Peter's Episcopal Church in Talladega, with Father Ben Turnage officiating. Burial in the Pine Hill Memorial Park. Again, visitation will be tonight 5 till 7 at Ursery Funeral Home. The funeral service will be held Friday at 2 o'clock from St. Peter's Episcopal Church in Talladega. Father Ben Turnage officiating. Burial in the Pine Hill Memorial Park. Ursery Funeral Home, Talladega, in charge of the arrangements. And Ms. Hill met her husband, Douglas, who was in the U.S. Air Force when he was stationed in Essex, England. That's a look at obituaries this morning, 5 minutes before the hour, brought to you by Curtis & Son Funeral Home, the North Chapel on Highway 21 in Sylacauga, and the Childersburg Chapel on Highway 280 in Childersburg. 256-245-4361 for pre-need funerals, burials, or cremation since 1975. Curtis & Son Funeral Home, Sylacauga, Childersburg.